Barbie and Kendra are back, which means I'm here again with my old pal, Will Glitch, aka No Burnham.
Yes.
And we're going to be watching the new Barbie and Kendra movie. I'm just going to bring up, on our last video, we did get a comment from William Butler, allegedly, who says, LOL, you two trying to make sense of this is the best part. I helped write it, and even we didn't know what the hell was going on. I suggest drinking a lot before you watch the next one. And personally, I'm not really a heavy drinker. I only really drink on special occasions.
This is a special occasion.
But there's a brand new Barbie and Kendra movie out, and the director of Baby Oopsie just commented on one of my videos. So for me, that's a special occasion. Bottoms up.
Hapless heroines Barbie and Kendra run afoul of a ruthless land baron when they head to Vegas to crash a horror host's annual drive-in movie meltdown. You know how the rest of them are like, inspired by like real events and stuff? I assume this isn't.
Joe Bob does have a show called The Drive-In where it's sort of like back in the day when I had Elvira and stuff like that, where there's a little host, two hosts actually, who talk about movies, and then you watch a movie together. People on Twitter live tweet alongside, and it's basically, the modern equivalent of going to a movie with your friends. Now it's just on the internet. I don't know exactly why it's the plot of this movie, because, there were Corona Zombies was at the time, coronavirus was a big topic, Tiger King was a big topic, Area 51 came a bit late, but it was at one point a big topic. I don't think Joe Bob is as culturally iconic, even though a lot of horror fans do love him. I'm aware of that. He is cool in that movie that he was in, but will he be as cool in this movie? Alright, well, let's just get into it and see what we have in store for us today.
Hooray.
I'm Joe Bob Briggs, and
it's the real Joe Bob.
Jamboree is coming to Vegas this
Who I learnt about like 5 minutes before this film. Is that Guardians in the background?
Yo, it's Guardians of the Galaxy!
Yeah. Kissy Num Nums. Oh god, they're going to so
Kissy Num Nums are back. William Butler.
Oh hell yeah, as our friend.
For our new friend.
Oh shit, is that them? It is them! They're outside!
They went outside. They did it.
Cash me outside.
Oh no. He's that guy at the front. He wants to be in the movie bad. Barbie and Kendra 4, the longest title of them all, I think. From what I can imagine.
Crash Joe Bob's Drive-In Jamboree.
It's not my favourite one, but it's maybe second favourite. I think. I don't know.
I would say this is technically the best because
yeah, I think technically wise, yes.
Okay, it's still a piece of shit. Like, I would never say this is one of the best of the year. It's not the worst of the year either. But it's low down there. It has locations, which is a step above any of the others. Not only the drive-in, but it has the locations around it. Obviously, it starts in a house, then they're on the road, then they're there on their bike, they go into the house next to it. There's some sort of weird, like, convention type thing happening where you've got cameos.
Everybody's there.
They go on stage as well for the drive-in. I think it is technically the best film, but it is still very bare bones. There is essentially a bit more of an A-plot, because these movies always have a plot. They watch Tiger King or whatever. This one, it has the, like, Muppets reboot plot where the sleepaway camp woman wants to buy the drive-in and change it into a golf course. And, it's not a detailed plot. That is literally the entire plot in just that one sentence. But that's still more of a plot than they watch a movie about aliens.
My God, Hollywood's lazy filmmaking has turned people's brains to shit. Your Starbucks order is here.
I like how they're calling Hollywood's filmmaking lazy.
And they put out their shit.
When
I also do like the meta element of it. It's a bit awkward, and we'll get into that later. Like, how ironic is it? Are they serious or not? But like, they bring up a lot of allegedly modern trends like reboots, even though that's been going on ages. The most popular films of these days tend to be sequels and reboots. Whereas before you had like E.T. did really well, the original Star Wars did really well, and even though that did ape back to things like Akira Kurosawa, Flash Gordon, it wasn't a sequel or reboot in name. Whereas the highest grossing films of these days, okay, technically we had Barbie, which, you know, borderline, it is based on a known toy, but it's not a direct sequel to any existing films. Stuff like that. But at least a couple years ago, we had, you know, Avengers, Star Wars. The highest grossing film of this year is Inside Out 2. Before that, it was Dune 2. You know, there is a move towards these films being more popular.
I don't think what they're saying is wrong, but I think they're the wrong people to say it. Like, especially when they're like accused, like, yeah, it is lazy, but when they're talking about like, oh my god, Hollywood's so lazy right now, we need to bring back real cinema, as they're like dubbing over an already existing movie. It's like, well, you're making a remake technically. Like, this is more a remake than that, usually.
This is where I'm saying their setup fails. So they have a setup. The other films barely had a setup, other than, hey, Corona's going about, let's talk about that. This one does have sort of a message. I think it fails at that message, but the fact that it tries to have a message makes me like it more than the others. The way that it fails is that it accidentally proves that its point is wrong, because it's showing that, I don't think they're thinking this deeply about it, but it accidentally shows you that a lot of old films were bad too. That a lot of people glorify past it, like, films these days aren't as good. No, I think films from every single era are wonderful, right? I love films from every single decade that film has been around for. I think people just tend to forget the bad of the past, because why would you remember it? Like, yeah, you're thinking of, okay, in the 70s there were classics like The Exorcist, but then there were also pieces of shit like, I think it's called Seitan, or something like that, this Turkish exorcist.
Yeah.
So there were shitty cash grabs back then, so this accidentally shows how incorrect that is. But also, you're complaining about sequels and reboots and spin-offs. On Barbie and Kendra 4, when you're the same person who's made, 13 Puppet Master films,
Yeah.
5 Demonic Toys films, plus the trilogy of Baby Oopsie, which is a spin-off, 8 Evil Bong films, 9 if you count the crossover with Ginger Dead Man, which has a trilogy of his own, the Evil Bong films crossover with the Killjoy films, which there might be 5 or so of, Trances, is it called? His sci-fi series, it's got however many films, that vampire series that I haven't seen, I've forgotten the name of. So it feels very hollow. I think there is a point to be made that there are a lot of sequels, and these days the most popular and financially successful films are franchise pieces. But I think they have been around, bad films have been around, and Charles Band, as much as I clearly like him because I keep watching his stuff, and he has made a lot of good stuff in the past, it does feel hollow when it's coming from somebody who's made so much sequels and spin-offs.
I'm speaking to you. Do you work here? Hello?
There's an advert.
Oh, fuck yeah. What you're saying about how, this has always been the case, and, we don't think about it. It's like, well, yeah, because obviously, when you look back at old decades and new films, you're going to remember the good ones, or like the awful, like the really funny bad ones, because the rest just get forgotten. But obviously right now, when fucking like, you know, Fast 10 comes out, even though I like Fast 10, but it's going to be like, oh yeah, I know that, remember that because I was there when it came out, kind of thing. Like, well, obviously it will then get forgotten afterwards, but you'll remember as it happened.
A lot of films that weren't worth time, because we didn't have streaming services and all this new technology, they literally just don't exist anymore. The physical film reels have been lost if they weren't worth saving. Whereas these days, okay, stuff does disappear off streaming services, but it still hangs around on someone's USB stick somewhere, and in a lot of cases, even though I don't pirate, it is still physically accessible through piracy sites. It still technically exists. But an old film that there was, one copy of that got destroyed or damaged in the last 70 years or whatever, there are films from back then that are literally unwatchable. We don't have that phenomenon anymore.
Yeah, like I don't disagree with what they're saying necessarily. I just think it's funny. Also, it's strange how like the A plot doesn't kind of roll into that at all. Like it is like almost completely separated. But I mean that is usually the case with these films, I guess. But this one felt a bit more separated, other than like the general theme of like driving.
Let's describe a bit of the plot actually, because we've kind of dove straight into the analysis.
Well, there's not much of it until the end, honestly. There's no real plot.
Welcome to Ruby's.
What's playing, pal?
What's always playing? Turkish Exorcist.
Not again.
Why is there a poster for Attack of the 50-Foot
Pull
Woman?
forward.
Plot is that they go to Joe Bob's drive-in, they watch a movie where people also go to a drive-in, and in that movie within a movie, they watch, I think it's called Satan, the Turkish Exorcist ripoff. So that also either helps or confuses the meta-narrative, depending on how you look at it. Because, especially now that we're recording this as well, so the audience out there, to break the fourth wall a bit, the audience are watching us watch a movie where they watch a movie where they watch a movie. I'm glad we're not popular enough for people to do reaction videos of our videos, because that would just be too much.
Bring me a bowl of peace.
She's hungry.
There's 2 exorcisms. But like you said, one of them's in the Turkish Exorcist movie, and one of them's in the movie that is watching the Turkish Exorcist movie.
Yeah, so in the movie that Barbie and Kendra are watching, they are watching Turkish Exorcist. So in that, there's a demonic possession and an exorcism. And then somebody watches that and gets possessed and requires an exorcism. And you can sort of tell, like, if you actually look at it, like, we're not stupid. We're not saying we can't tell the difference. But it takes that extra second longer. They've all had 2 movies.
Yeah, they'd combine multiple movies, but into one plot. So when I saw that they were like, oh, this is obviously a different film they've taken from, I just assumed it was, like, still the same movie for this film, but they'd just taken 2 different archive films, and they just, like, squished them together, and were like, it looks different, but who cares? And I was like, okay, maybe these will like become related at some point. And then it wasn't until like towards the end I was like, oh wait, they are different. Also, I got confused because the woman who gets exorcismed in the, was it Ruby's drive-through movie or whatever, she goes, I'm in a movie at one point. And I was like, wait, what? What does that mean?
Yeah, that's like a funny fourth wall break.
Yeah, but is that meant to, is that because it's like 3 movies in one? Is that in universe her saying it, or is it just for us to be like, haha, that's funny?
We overthink these movies. These movies are, and I'll acknowledge it now, we've done 4 movies trying to treat these as real movies, where we analyse them with...
You say we overthink them, but also there's parts where they're like, this is our commentary.
If you're supposed to just turn your brain off and laugh, as Mr. Butler said, drink some beer or whatever your drink of choice is, and just laugh. But I also feel like that does somewhat insult our intelligence, because I think there are many great movies that are, when you think about them, stupid, but are also quality filmmaking, such as some of Charles Band's older movies, or even better examples are something like The Legend of the Stardust Brothers, where I think is a very underrated movie that could be a drive-in cult classic, but just didn't get the audience. One movie that I think you could compare this to, with an awkward, unintentional coincidence, is The Fall Guy, because The Fall Guy celebrates
That's such an
trashy
insult
movies.
to the Fall Guy.
In the plot of the movie, they are making Metal Storm.
Yeah.
But the entire thing is new footage. And there's an awkward connection in that they don't mention it in the movie, but Metal Storm is a real movie from the 80s, directed by Charles Band.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
So
Damn, that makes me appreciate that movie more.
while he's sort of laughing at these movies, these
They're
other
laughing
people are
at
also
him.
laughing at his movies. Technically, Charles Band doesn't have the same funding. I know all this. I know he's an independent filmmaker, and obviously Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt and Universal, David Leitch, they have however much, 1,000 times the budget, maybe even more so. Probably a million times the budget of this. I don't know the actual figures. I know they have more money, so it's going to be better. But also, with your time on the earth, I would recommend The Fall Guy over this a million times. Plus, The Fall Guy still has a story. Like, there are so many independent films, even ones made during lockdown, for talking about the first three Barbie and Kendra films, such as we both love Bo Burnham's Inside. There are great films that are made on limitations. I think this one has its limitations as crutches. The limitations get in the way of the filmmaking, rather than what interesting, fun things can we do with these limitations. Whereas here it just feels like they use it as an excuse.
Well, I think I've said, like, in all of these, I have no problem with these films existing, but it does feel, especially with the first three, like just groups of people recording over a movie and going, haha, that would be funny if they said that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, not everything has to be made to be high art. Like, we're making a YouTube video. This isn't high art either. Like, if things can just be made for fun and just for a specific audience, for a niche audience, and if they enjoy it, they enjoy it. But I do think that's why it's confusing when this movie, like you said, you say it's trying to be turn off your brain and have fun, but then it's also like telling the audience to criticize Hollywood more or be more critical of what they watch in a way, or, you know. So it's like, so what one is it? Do you want us to kind of learn something from this movie, or is it just turn off? So then when that woman says stuff like, I'm in a movie, then it's like, so is this part of the meta commentary, or is this just part of the funny what if she said this? So that's why it gets confusing. It's like, because this lines up for both of them, and now I don't know if I'm misunderstanding what you're trying to say or if I'm overthinking it. But I do respect that they actually made a movie.
Some of our complaints with the previous movies were that it almost felt like they were trying to trick you, and I wasn't sure if they knew that I knew this was old footage. In this one, it's 100% clear. There is no way anybody in the world could watch this and not immediately think, oh, okay, they're watching a movie.
I'm the one who's gonna take, like, everything over and say, fuck off to all these black t-shirt assholes.
You stay away from Joe Bob.
Oh, really? What are you gonna do?
This one felt like one they had a lot more care into. They were like, all right, we're not just going to film these two women on two sets, those sets being green screen and sofa. They were like, we're gonna actually get actors in, we're gonna get extras, which I assume were just whoever I assume they just filmed at Joe Bob's thing and went, can we use your crowd as extras? And they went, sure. But that takes a lot of preparation and like permissions and stuff. And then obviously they had like other people speaking it. It isn't just Barbie and Kendra and a guy going, Corona Zombie, who's also a legend. so like this one was much more of a movie, and it felt like much. I don't like. Part of me wants to say passion project. Like this one felt like they were like, all right, this one's gonna have a purpose. I think this one's objectively the best one in terms of like technical wise and like its point, and like it is a movie. Like yeah, it's still imperfect, but like considering, like I said, it's probably still a low budget movie. Not all the shots were terrible. Like some of them were like very obviously sexualizing and weird and just whatever worked. But some, like the camera quality didn't look terrible. Like some of the shots looked maybe thought out. It might have just been that's how the lighting was, but it kind of worked.
One technical limitation that did distract me a little bit was that the time of day each shot was filmed in was changing. If you looked at the night sky, it was completely different shot to shot. And as the director of a 2016 short film Hammerhead, I know what it's like filming outside. If you watch my short film, you can see within five minutes or however long that film is, the night sky, it gets really dark really quick. Yeah, it's because it was like, I don't remember how long, but a long shoot. We started shooting in the morning. We finished shooting in the late evening, but it was in, I think, October or November, so obviously it got dark. I know that can happen, but the weird thing was that it was going back and forth between them. It would get darker and then get lighter. Whereas if it just got darker over the period of time, you know, that would be a bit more believable. You could be like, oh, okay, I guess that's what happens. It does get darker. As I said, it gets darker. One of my lights just turned off. We've got our own meta-narrative in this video.
It was more ambitious, this movie was, than the others. And, like, yeah, that leads to more complications. But that's fine, I think.
Yeah, I get it to a certain degree.
Candy.
Cold drinks, hot dogs, and more.
Head to the snack bar for munchies galore.
And don't forget our golden corn dogs.
There you go again, accusing me of being forgetful.
Don't start with me, Darlene.
My mother instates single.
Single? Ha! Then who'd pay for all that booze you swill? Let me guess. With the money you make off that useless real estate
I
license.
actually quite like this.
Those first three were just, well, the first two especially were, what's culturally relevant? Oh, if we're the first people to make a movie about COVID, people, like, will talk about it and give us free promotion. I'm sure there were articles about it. There was obviously us. If we did it a little bit late, but we essentially gave it a bit of free promotion on YouTube. Not that we have a giant audience or anything, but it got people talking. The Tiger King, I think, was the, oh, quick, what else is going on? By the third one, they had a bit of an old topic, but this one is, it feels more like Charles Band was like, you know what? I miss these characters. Let's bring them back. Okay, what can we do? Let's think about a plot rather than just plucking whatever he happened to see on his Facebook feed or whatever his social media of choice is. I think he's a bit active on the Twitter. I don't touch that though, so I don't know what they're talking about on there these days.
I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my hair.
You see what I am meaning? What on earth?
2024, whip my hair back and forth reference. There were also less modern references, I thought. There obviously were some. The most modern thing they talked about was Exorcist Believer, because that came out in October 2023, so less than a year old. But otherwise, they talk about the Book of Boba Fett, which is, 2022? It's on screen now. But then they talk about I whip my hair back and forth. I don't even know when that was. It was so long ago. I was half expecting Skibbity Toilet, but maybe Charles Band doesn't know about that.
Your grandmother shows her pussy on OnlyFans.
Oh God, Megan, no!
Because when she was saying them all, it was like in the reference of like modern day films lazy, and like so it makes sense that she'd reference them, as opposed to the other movies where they're just like say things.
Yeah, I think it fit in better, but they were also less relevant.
Yeah, there were lines when the Ruby's drive-through movie started, which confused me because it was like they're you people and your pronouns, and then they said about like little people and be like, oh, I'm gonna get cancelled, and I was like, what side are the writers on? I can't tell.
Yeah, that's another one of the, like, where does the joke start and end? Because I don't know. I genuinely don't know, and
You're scared to find out.
I
'cause it
almost
might ruin
don't
these
want to
movies for
find
you.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just bring up, I've watched a lot of these full moon movies, and in Evil Bong 7, I believe it is, the postman from the first movie refuses to have sex with a trans woman and is completely disgusted with her, which completely took me by surprise by a movie that was that modern to have such an explicit transphobic theme, because obviously there's a history of so many, like, trans women being the butt of jokes, and, you know, trans people in general, but especially trans women. But for Evil Bong 7 to have it, I was like, oh, that's a bit too new for you to be saying these things. But then in Evil Bong 8, that same character meets with that same alleged trans woman, and he apologizes, which makes you think, oh, hang on, looks like Charles Band has, like, fought back on his stuff he said and the impact it might have. Which, you know, with a lot of these people, Ricky Gervais, J.K. Rowling, etc., they tend to double down when they realise, well, when they notice these things. So I thought, oh, Charles Band has actually realised he's done something wrong, he's gone back on it, I respect that. Because there was a transphobic one-off line in Barbie and Kendra Save the Tiger King, which I don't think I included in the video, where one of the characters says, like, either I'm a man or I'm a woman, and then the flight attendant goes, yeah, sure, you know, as if to laugh at identities. Well, not as if, it literally is laughing at people having an identity. But I thought, okay, they're leaving that in the past. Evil Bong 8, which stars Barbie and Kendra, does apologise for that. But no, they've just gone straight back with it, with a joke that people have pronouns, which, by the way, every character in this fucking movie has pronouns. You is a pronoun. This fucking character says, you kids and your pronouns. The word you is a pronoun. If you are anti-pronoun, you should not be allowed to use the word you, because that is a fucking pronoun.
I couldn't tell what they were getting at, because obviously, like, it's the thing of they're using, like, footage obviously meant to be from the past. So I wasn't sure if them putting that was like a jab at, like, oh, look what people used to be like, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, isn't it funny how these people used to, not funny, but, like, do you know what I mean? Like, the butt of the joke is the guy saying it, maybe. But then they kept going on, and then they were like, they said more about the little guy or whatever, and then later on they made Me Too jokes and stuff, so I'm like, I can't tell. Also, I made a comment being like, oh, I assume there's a lot of, like, transphobia in horror films, but also that now I'm thinking about it, that's wrong, I assume, because wasn't horror quite accepting of, like, LGBTQ stuff, like, historically?
It's very, very back and forth.
Interesting.
So in this movie as well, they actually do have the lead actress from Sleepaway Camp. She plays the person who wants to knock down the drive-in. And that is a movie, I'm sorry I'm going to spoil this movie, but it's from the 80s. Click away now, I've given you enough warning. The plot twist of that movie is that the reason the killer is a killer is because she is trans, and she was forced to be trans by her parents. She was a boy, raised as a girl, and the final shot of the movie is her with a penis to make you be so scared, oh, what if a woman had a penis? People defend that movie, and I'm probably going to get people disliking, commenting on this video, because nobody else in the world seems to admit that that's transphobia, even though saying that somebody being trans is equivalent to being a serial killer, and using a female body with a penis as an image to shock you, these are literal examples of transphobia.
You can't say midget anymore. You're canceled, asshole.
You people and your pronouns.
I think this movie and the comment that they had in Barbie and Kendra Save the Tiger King, I think they're hinting at transphobia, but they're saying it in a way that has become a bit of somewhat of a modern trend, where people say enough that they're saying something depending on whatever they're against, whether it's homophobia, transphobia, racism, which I'm, as a fucking white dude, not as familiar with, they want to say something. They say it in such a minute way that they think they can still get away with it. And if you were to call them out on it, they would say it's just a joke. And I think they would say, oh no, we're being ironic. We are making fun of these people. But really, they're just platforming and pushing this belief.
It's interesting how this has come out of Barbie and Kendra 4.
Yeah, this doesn't need to be an element of this movie, you know?
Yeah, it's again that thing of they're just throwing shit at the wall, I think, and they're just not thinking too heavily about it.
I don't feel too comfortable with it. I'm not saying cancel them. I'm not saying delete their career. I'm just saying why are they choosing to put that in a movie when they could make this movie anything in the whole entire world, and they choose to put that in? What does that say? Both about them and about this movie.
They're all like, yeah, good one, Joey.
This place is mine.
I love how he's always stood straight up.
To say it's new, it's fresh, it's the digital age.
You know, I don't know anything about
He doesn't move at all.
Darcy, got anything in that
Oh,
mailbag?
hand movement.
Studio.
And how?
Why is just a tip shot? I hope there's another one, and that we're in it.
I think I'm essentially done with this franchise. Like, if they do make another one, which I don't know if they will or won't. I didn't even know when they hadn't announced number 4 when we filmed number 3, but they had before I released it, so that's why I stuck in the thing at the end, hinting at this movie, but we didn't know when we filmed it. As of us filming this, they haven't announced a number 5. If they do, I don't think we should bother with another video, to be honest, because we're just at the risk of just repeating ourselves, because I'm sure they'll just do the same stuff over and over, unless they do come up with something new. If they come up with something new and worth talking about, we'll talk about it. If they just do the same movie again, we did 3 movies where our point for 3 videos was they haven't done anything. They haven't made any new content. Well, they have made new content, and it still isn't great.
I think Barbie and Kendra should make a movie. Like, the plot is that they're like, oh my god, going to cinema is so fun. We should make a film. And then it's them like, I don't know, what film would they even use to like dub over? I don't fucking know.
They could make any of the Full Moon movies, surely, because Charles Band has all the behind the scenes footage of those movies already, so that would be the easiest one. Barbie and Kendra could get hired to make Puppet Master 14 or whatever, and then they could use old footage of the Puppet Master films, use some of the behind the scenes shots, whatever.
I want to see this. So you can just like, that's probably an easy movie to make. Just have a day out in LA, do the film and improvise whatever you see, and then just intercut that with behind the scenes footage of Barbie and the actresses on the set of Evil Bong 8, whatever. And like, yeah, sure, they won't be acting like the characters, but that doesn't matter. These films don't care about continuity.
They didn't resolve the plot of number 3, or the twist of number 3, where they end up. Well, they don't actually see where they end up, but it says they're going to end up somewhere. But then in the next movie, chronologically, there was Evil Bong 8, where they just turned up at the restaurant that character had opened, and they don't reference like how they got there or anything. This movie doesn't reference them in Evil Bong 8 or the end of Barbie and Kendra 3. It just starts and a few years have passed, which I guess is fine. I don't care for where they went, really. Like, it would kind of bore me, I think, if they did try and continue that plot. But if you are looking at it critically, which is what these videos essentially are, it's technically bad storytelling. If people could complain, like, how did Maz Kanata get that lightsaber?
I think they should write some Barbie and Kendra comics to fill in the gaps.
You know, I know that's an unfair comparison because that was made on however many $1 billion. But if this movie can call out, it specifically does name drop Boba Fett, so it is calling out modern Star Wars. If they're saying modern Star Wars sucks, I can describe what's better about modern Star Wars. than Lee's. They started it.
Controversial. Is this the next Barbie and Kendra? Like, what is this? This is just a trailer.
It's just we ran out of footage, is what it is. I mean, at least I don't think there was AI in this, because Charles Band is seemingly pro AI. He did make a movie where the plot was someone had an AI girlfriend, so obviously they used AI to generate an AI girlfriend. I think that one's forgivable, because obviously that's a plot point. It's supposed to be AI. And he has been talking about how his new movies he's going to make are going to be using AI for some of the VFX, which I'd rather they paid a VFX artist, but also how much money is anyone actually losing out on, because Charles Band doesn't seem to put as much money into his movies, so I don't think technically anybody's losing their jobs. It's walking a line, whereas this one doesn't touch that line, so I don't need to think about it, so I'm happy.
Yay! Oh shit, that's like new footage. The way the cameraman's like filming it.
Do you think they're the owners?
I don't think so.
Get out!
I'm glad this important plot point is happening.
Yeah.
I hope it never comes up again.
Is there anything else we need to say?
You've got to talk about how you want to be in Barbie Kendra 5.
I think that goes without saying. You know, we've got our contact now.
Yeah, so William Butler, if you're watching this video, email me or whatever. Comment on this video, casting me and Will in your next movie. Whether that's Barbie and Kendra 5, whether that's Baby Oopsie 4, whether that's a Demonic Toys, Scary Bear, whatever he's called, spin-off. Will is going to give you an original character right now of a new evil toy for you to use, but you can only use it if you cast Will as the voice actor. Take it away, Will.
I don't know anything about the franchise. I don't know what that means. What kind of toys are they?
So they've already got a baby doll called Baby Oopsie. They've got a robot, a killer robot. They've got like a G.I. Joe guy that was in one of them. They've got a Jack in the Box character. And maybe somebody else I've forgotten. So just think of a toy that's not copyright.
I'd be like a little dinosaur. I want to be a little dinosaur. Like the dinosaur that's in the Argos adverts, voiced by the guy from this country.
I think that could work, yeah. Because I don't think there's a dinosaur in Puppet Master either, so that's a pretty fresh idea. Maybe they should use it.
See, it works.
Cast Will now on 07, whatever his number is.
Just try, and you'll find it eventually.
Eventually, if you call every single number, it will eventually one of them will be Will. Before we go, I just want to say congratulations to Charles Band and Robin Sidney for getting married. Robin Sidney, of course, plays Kendra in these films. Charles Band is, of course, the director. I don't know them, but they seem to get on well together because she's in so many of his movies. So I wish them many happy years together and many more asking your wife to flash her chest for the camera.
True love.
Well, we got something that'll put the scoop back in those boots. We do? We do.
Oh god.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Subscribe to Will Glitch on YouTube and cast him in Demonic Toys 7, the Devil Dinosaur or something, I don't know. Wait, I didn't order a dinosaur toy.
Whoa. I'm a dinosaur. Fuck you. Raw. I'm hungry for Barbie and Kendra,